Do you want to change your life? Change your thinking. Change your life. Do you want better relationships? Change your thinking. Change your life. Do you know the potential of who you are today, who you can become? Change your thinking. Change your life. Join Dr. Preston Rich as he helps you to change your thinking, to change your life. From the military to corporate to the classroom, Dr. Rich shares his experience and knowledge to help others be their best selves. In this fast-paced world that we live in, we tend to forget how special we are. Doc Rich says you are perfectly imperfect and uniquely amazing. And we're going to act like Call in or listen in as Doc Rich speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, your host, Dr. Preston Rich.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Preston Rich. I'm out here in Frisco, Texas, coming at you for my podcast. I've been gone for a minute, and I'm back now. I took a short hiatus and came back. For all of you who are listening again, welcome back. For those of you who are listening for the first time, I hope that I give you something that you can take with you and improve yourself. Like she said, I am Dr. Preston Rich. I am in Frisco, Texas. I've been in the military. I've been in corporate. I own my own business. I've been a professor in the classrooms. And I'm out here now to try to pass on some information. Now, the last two podcasts I recorded, they were entitled Getting Out of Your Own Way, Parts 1 and Part 2. Now we're going to do Part 3. It's been a long time running for me to get back with you guys to give you the information that you needed. So here goes. Now, I'm not going to go through 1 through 10 because that's what the podcast or the first and second podcast in the series are dedicated to. But I am going to talk about the bonus ones. I wrote about 10 in my book, and I'm going to give you some bonus ones. By all means, this is not the exhaustive list, but it is the one that will complete the series, and then we'll move on to some more pressing things. Right now, our country is beat down by the coronavirus. Hell, the world is beat down by the coronavirus. And I think now more than any time, we need to hunker down and try to look within ourselves to find out how well or how much better a person we can be. We find all the negativity of this outbreak, but we actually need to look into ourselves and do some self-reflection and to find out who we are. And when we find out who we are, we need to get out of our own way. I think I have a firm belief that the only reason that you're not where you want to be is because you're in your own way. So like I said, I gave you 1 through 10 in the first and the second podcast. This is the third in the series. So let's get into it. Be the change you want to see. So I gave you 1 through 10. This will effectively be 11. All right. Be the change you want to see. So many times we get into relationships or jobs, which people, if you don't think your job is a relationship, it is. People get into relationships or jobs looking to change the other person or to change the other party. Well, that's good in theory. We would all like us to just go poof and the other person changes or the other entity changes or your company changes to fit you. But in order for you to get out of your own way, you have to be the change you want to see. There's a lot of things that you want to do. There's a lot of things you want to say. There's a lot of places you want to be. There's a lot of stages you want to grow to. Well, in order for you to do that, you have to actually be the change you want to see. If you want to see yourself in a different light, you have to start making changes in yourself. You can't wait for someone else to do it for you because, quite frankly, people don't owe you anything. And no one is going to take you by the hand and say, okay, this is what you do to change. That ended when you turned 18. As a grown-up or adult in the United States of America, or hell, anywhere, I've been all over the world, and I've seen this all the time. If you want to change something, you probably have to start with yourself. You have to look, as Michael Jackson said, to look at the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror Look at the person in the mirror to find out how well you're doing and to find out how much you can change yourself. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing you have to do is look at yourself in the mirror with no filter. You know, you see in social media, you have all the filters out here, but you have to look at yourself unadulterated, just you. Bare bones, wrinkles, dimples, folds, everything. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, and I'm not really talking about literally looking at yourself in the mirror, because you see yourself every day. Hopefully everybody has a mirror in their house. If they don't, they have them at Walmart or Target if you're not a Walmart person. Oh, hell, the dollar store. Either way, you need to be able to look at yourself in the mirror. You need to be able to face yourself. In order for you to understand what you need to change, you need to look at yourself objectively and say, here, these are my problems. I own them. This is what I need to change. And look, you can't do this all at one time. I can guarantee you there's so many things you need to change about yourself, and there's so many things you want to change about yourself. Now, I'm not telling you the two lists are the same. A lot of people want to change themselves for some odd reasons. A lot of people need to change themselves for some real reasons. So if your need to change and your want to change list is the same, congratulations. A lot of times it's not. So let's look at your need to change list and say, hey, I need to stop spending so much money on worthless things, or I need to stop spending major time with minor people, or I need to be more loving, or I need to be kind, or I need to, whatever you know you need to do. Dr. Rich can't tell you. Whatever you know you need to do, and whatever you are looking to get out of the change, you need to start with. It needs to start with you. You can't keep going around putting it on other people saying, well, they and this person and that person. Nope, it was you. You had a choice in the matter. You did what you did. You are the way you are. So change. And guess what? It's not a bad thing just because you have flaws. Hell, everybody has flaws. I'm still working on mine, and there's a lot of them. And you have to, I'm speaking to you from experience to tell you that in order for you to really get out of your own way, you have to look at yourself and say, this is what I'm going to change, and work on that one thing until you change it, and then move on to the next thing. Okay. Number 12, be empathetic. Now, a lot of people get empathy and sympathy mixed up. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. That's not what I'm saying. Don't go out there and say what Dr. Rich said. I mean, to have sympathy for, no, you don't have to have sympathy for everyone. Sometimes people get into predicaments, and you have to actually be empathetic. You have to have empathy for them. You have to have compassion for them. You have to be able to say, I see how you could say that. Or you have to be able to say, I see how this person has this perspective. I understand where they come from. Until you're able to put yourself in their shoes or to see some things from the other person's side, you will never be able to show true empathy, and you'll never be able to be a critical thinker, and you'll never be able to get out of your own way. If you can never see someone else for who they are, or someone else from where they come from, or why they do the things they do, you'll never be able to see the same in yourself. That kind of goes to that whole thing I was just talking about, be the change you want to see. If you want other people to treat you with empathy, you have to have empathy for other people. You have to be able to accept people for who they are. I did not say agree with them. I said accept them for who they are. Be able to understand where they come from. Be able to say, I get it. I see how you could say that. Now, you don't have to agree with them. I'm not telling you to agree. You can disagree without being disagreeable. But what you cannot do is go through life with no empathy, no sense of the other person and the other person's side. Can't do that. I know a lot of people would love to. Not going to happen. Number 13, know what you don't know. Have a little bit of intellectual humility. One of the number one things that people do who are not critical thinkers is they have no understanding of what they don't know. They have no intellectual humility. In order for you to be a critical thinker, which you need to be a critical thinker in order to get out of your own way, in order for you to do such, you need to ensure that you have a firm understanding of what you don't know. It's real simple. I mean, you can actually try this out at home. or where you're sitting now, is grab a piece of paper and put a line down the middle and think about someone you know fairly well. Now, on the left side of the page, I want you to write down all the things that you know about this person. And on the right side of the page, write down all the things that you don't know about this person. Now, mind you, this is someone you know fairly well, your mother, brother, spouse, sister, cousin, some best friend, someone who you know fairly well. Okay. On the left side of the page, you should have a whole lot of things that you know about the person. On the right side of the page, you should have the things that you don't know. And until you sit down and actually think about what you don't know, you will have no clue. In order for you to be a critical thinker, in order for you to get out of your own way, you have to practice intellectual humility and have a firm understanding, which means having a firm understanding of what you don't know. Okay. Number 14, be relatable. You know, I try to get people to understand this in so many different ways, and they don't seem to get it. Being relatable has to do with, number one, being approachable. Number two, being able to communicate with another person. And if you're a person who's in the spotlight of being with a lot of people, or your job takes you around different people from different walks of life, you have to understand how to relate to them in the way that will, number one, let them approach you. Number two, let them understand that you're trying to understand them. Being relatable has to do with being able to get along with other people. You can have you can have more degrees than a thermometer. But if you're the person who no one can work with, you will probably be unemployed a lot. Or you probably will be that person that no one wants to work with because of the fact that people don't work well with people they don't like. I'm not talking about going around smiling in people's faces even if you don't like them. That's kind of silly. I don't want you to do that. What I do want you to do is make sure that when you do talk to people, you give them a sense of comfort and you lead with your heart and you understand how to relate to them. That's going to take some doing from you, is actually seeking first to understand and to be understood. You're going to have to actually try to find out from their standpoint, because everybody that you come into contact with is not going to be relatable. If you want to change the way you are and get out of your own way, you have to be relatable. Now, that person that you're talking to who is not relatable, that's on them. That doesn't have anything to do with you. That's on them. Let them listen to the podcast and find out how to become relatable. Now, you probably ask me, okay, well, what can I do to be relatable? You know, the number one thing you can do to be relatable to an individual, learn their name. Anywhere I go, whether it's a restaurant, barbershop, whether I'm there 15 times or one time, if the person is communicating with me or doing something to serve me or just speaking to me, I ask them their name or I read it on their name tag. That's one of the things that freaks people out. People come to you with a name tag. Try it. Just try it. Look at someone. If you have someone somewhere at the ballpark or somewhere or at a store and they have a name tag on, do me a favor and call them by their name. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Whoa, wait. I did it yesterday at the Whole Foods market. You know, the cashier kid was out in the aisle trying to get people to come to his line because he was open. And he said, "Good morning, sir. How are you?" I said, "Fine, Aaron. How are you?" And he looked startled. Like, wait, I'm thinking to myself, dude, you have this big 3x5 name tag on your chest that says Aaron, and it actually said, "Hello, my name is Aaron." And I spoke to him, and he was shook, for lack of a better word. But hey, if you want to be relatable to individuals, you should learn their names, and every time you see them, call them by said name. When I go to seminars, whether I'm in classes, if I have a small intimate setting of maybe 50 people or less, I try to learn every one of their names before I leave the room. Why is that? Do you like being called by your name? Or do you like sir, ma'am, hey, whatever? Yeah, no. You probably like being called by your name. Well, that's the number one thing that helps you to become a relatable individual. You introduce yourself, you try to learn their names, and at that point, the person opens up and says, hey, he wants to know who I am. This person wants to know who I am, so let me try to put my defenses down and share myself with them. That's being relatable. Pretty simple when you actually look at it in the grand scheme of things. Last but not least, number 15, I want you guys to become sociocentric thinkers instead of egocentric thinkers. Now, being a sociocentric thinker helps you to see other points of view. It helps you to think in other points of view. A lot of times you run into people who are egocentric thinkers, especially during voting time. Some people watch Fox only. Some people watch CNN only. Some people watch MSNBC only. And they come and they try to make an honest decision on the next elected official, and they only have one point of view. They only listen to Fox, or they only listen to CNN, or they only listen to MSNBC. In order for you to become a sociocentric thinker, let's back up. In order for you to get out of your own way, you should become a sociocentric thinker and give up the egocentric thinking, because oddly enough, you may be smart, but you don't know everything. You don't know everything, You don't know everything. And when that happens, you open yourself up to brand new perspectives. You open yourself up to brand new people. You open yourself up to brand new concepts that you would have never thought of. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the things that you learn are going to change your mind, but I tell you what they will do. They'll help you get out of your own way, because when you start thinking differently, you change your life. As a matter of fact, that's my mantra. Change your thinking, change your life, because your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. In order for you to change your life, you must change your thinking. In order for you to change your thinking, you must get out of your own way. And to get out of your own way, as we're going to go into these 5, is number 1, be the change you want to see. Number 11, be the change you want to see, you wish to see. Number 12, be empathetic. Number 13, know what you don't know. Number 14, be relatable. And number 15, become a sociocentric thinker instead of an egocentric thinker. Egocentric thinkers only think one way. They think because they have friends who think like them, they're right. They look for they think with confirmation bias. They look for people to agree with them and then say, okay, since these people agree with me, then I must be right. No. That's not how it works. Just because you're sitting in a bar with 18 different people who think like you, that doesn't make you right. That doesn't make them right. It's just 19 people sitting somewhere wrong. So please, if you really want to change, I hope that you use those 15 items that I gave you in parts 1, parts 2, and parts 3 of my podcast, of my Getting Out of Your Own Way Thinking series. This right now, actually, since I have no callers, this is actually going to conclude part 3 of this podcast. I had a great time with you folks. I will be back, more often than not. We will make our podcast more regular now, since we are changing some priorities and doing some things differently. I recently was in corporate. I left corporate. I left corporate in 2011 and went to finish my education, and I went back to corporate in 2018. And I learned some things. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the corporate world. It refreshed my memory about corporate. And I kind of went to a situation where I had to do the things that were best for me and my family. So if you're in that situation and you feel as though you need to make a transition, leap. Go and do the things that are best for you. Pray about it. Pray to your God. I happen to be a Christian, so I prayed to the Lord and prayed to him. And, it's kind of funny. 2 weeks ago, things are not the same at the company as they are now. And I'm glad that I made the transition. And I don't have anything bad to say about the company at all. I think the company will do well with the people that they have, and it was just something that I had to do differently. And if you find yourself in that situation, boy, have I got a podcast for you. Having said that, folks, I will tell you that this is Dr. Rich. I am back on my podcast. I will be back soon. And as always, Dr. Rich loves you. Peace.
You've been listening to the Doc Rich Speaks show. We hope we've stimulated your mind and inspired you to be your best self today. If you've enjoyed the show, tell some friends and join us next time on this same station. Follow Dr. Rich on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Doc Rich Speaks. You can download this podcast on Apple, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Spreaker as well. In the meantime and in between time, remember you are perfectly imperfect and uniquely amazing. So just be great every single day.